Have you noticed something interesting lately? For years, whenever Prince Harry and Meghan Markle were discussed in the media, the conversation often followed a familiar script. The focus was on controversy, criticism, and conflict. But every once in a while, a conversation comes along that feels different. A conversation where people pause long enough to ask not just, but it happened. That's exactly what caught my attention this time. One of America's biggest daytime talk shows sat down to discuss the reported meeting between King Charles and Prince Harry and the ongoing distance between Harry and Prince William. What surprised me wasn't that they talked about the royal family. They've done that before. What surprised me was the tone. Instead of rushing to assign blame or recycle the same headlines we've heard for years, several panelists chose something much rarer. They chose empathy. They acknowledged the emotional weight of fractured family relationships reflected on the intense media scrutiny surrounding Harry and Meghan, and considered how those pressures may have shaped the situation. And Sussex gang. That's why I wanted to make this video, because I think this conversation deserves more attention than it's getting. Take a listen to this.
So King Charles, I still can't get used to that. I think of him as Prince Charles. But King Charles recently reunited with Prince Harry after 4 years. But according to reports, Harry still has no relationship with his brother, Prince William. Which insiders describe as so broken. Does Harry making peace with Dad open a door to the royal family reunion? Or not?
I sure hope so.
I mean,
we know that the king has been in ailing health, and we wish him all of the best. And I think it's really important that Prince Harry is making the effort to try to rectify that relationship. You never were promised another day with a loved one, but I think of my husband and his brother. We all live in the same town. They're best friends. They're business partners. To think of them ever having a rift that they couldn't fix is just heartbreaking to me. Yeah. And then also really sad is the kids. They both have the cousins who've never even met each other, and if they were able to work through, that's my understanding is that they haven't. So just if they could somehow rectify this, it would be so great for all of their kids to get to grow up with the cousins too.
That's really what I thought. Is just I'm glad that even if the brothers aren't getting along, that Prince Harry was able to see his dad, because you know.
Now, wasn't that interesting? What stood out to me wasn't that everyone agreed on every point. They didn't. That's what made the discussion feel genuine. Different perspectives were shared, but there was also a clear recognition that family estrangement is painful and rarely as simple as headlines make it seem. One panelist spoke about how important it is to try to repair relationships while loved ones are still here, especially given King Charles' health. Another reflected on how heartbreaking it is that cousins have grown up without really knowing one another. Those comments shifted the focus away from palace intrigue and back to something many people can relate to: family. For me, that's an important distinction. Too often, the public conversation about Harry and Meghan becomes a debate about personalities. But underneath all of that are relationships, grief, expectations, and the challenges of navigating family conflict in full public view. Then the discussion turned to Meghan. One panelist suggested that the way Meghan was treated became a significant factor in widening the rift.
Is the heir to the throne, and Harry is like the other.
No, I think it's the treatment of Meghan Markle. That really was.
That didn't help, but they would not treat a Williams wife that way. Honestly, because he's going to be the next.
Well, if she was Meghan Markle, they might have.
Another expanded on that idea by talking about the British tabloid environment, describing it as especially aggressive and acknowledging how relentless media coverage can affect a person and a family. Whether every viewer agrees with those assessments or not, I think it's noteworthy that these points were raised on mainstream American television. It shows there are audiences interested in discussing the issue with more nuance, rather than reducing it to a simple heroes and villains narrative. That next exchange really caught my attention. One of the panelists reflected on becoming a mother and said it changed the way she viewed Meghan's experiences. She spoke about postpartum emotions, mental health, and the pressures of being in the spotlight, explaining that motherhood gave her a deeper appreciation for what Meghan had described publicly. I found that perspective interesting because it illustrates how people's views can evolve over time. New life experiences can lead someone to revisit an earlier opinion with greater empathy. And perhaps that's one of the biggest takeaways from this discussion. It's possible to reconsider a situation without pretending the past didn't happen. It's possible to acknowledge that multiple people have experienced pain. It's also possible to recognize that media narratives can shape public opinion in powerful ways. That's why conversations like this matter. They encourage viewers to ask questions instead of simply accepting the loudest headline. So, Sussex gang, what did you think of this discussion? Did you find the panel's focus on empathy and family refreshing, or do you see the situation differently? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this analysis, don't forget to like the video, subscribe if you're new, and turn on notifications so you won't miss our next discussion. As always, thank you for being part of this incredible community, and I'll see you in the next one.